My name is Gabby Pisa and I'm a sophomore in CEM, and today I'm going to be talking about my internship experience with Mortenson. Mortenson is a construction company that focuses mostly on heavy civil, clean energy, and infrastructure types of construction. They're a very big company with their headquarters located in Minneapolis, but also offices located all throughout the U.S., such as Chicago, Seattle, Denver, as well as specific groups such as the high voltage transmission in sports and wind that focus solely on those things. This summer, I was able to work in the Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago, Illinois. Lurie was built in 2007 by Mortenson, and they've always had a construction team on there to fix up any renovations or small projects that the hospital still wanted them to work on. The projects that I was able to work on this summer were the renovations of the 22nd and 17th floor. Before I go into the exact details of the projects that I worked on, I want to talk about the most unique aspect of my summer, which was working in a hospital. Working in a hospital is a lot different from most construction sites in the sense that you need to go through a lot more planning and a lot more approval. For example, we always needed approval from the hospital's own construction team as well as the owner and the architect, and punch lists weren't just done with the architect, but were also done with disease control to make sure that everything was up to code and that everything was perfect for the patients that were there. While having no dust and no mold are important in any construction site that you have, it was extremely important to where we were, because we needed to make sure that the patients had absolutely no sign of construction so that no dust or anything could get in their lungs and make them more sick. We always had to be aware of the patients nearby since we were working in an active hospital, which meant that we had to dress professionally and we always had to start work a little bit later, such as 8 or 9 a.m., so that the children could get their sleep. While all of this certainly did slow down construction, every part of it was needed to ensure the safety of the patients that were there and really put that first. With that being said, I can start to talk about the work that I actually was able to do, and the first project was on the 22nd floor. This project started in June of 2017 and it finished in July of 2018, and it was renovating certain office spaces and changing them now into patient rooms, such as you can see here, these were what the patient rooms looked like after they were renovated. Since I came in towards the end of the process, most of what I did was punch list items and making sure that everything was up to date and working with disease control and everything to make sure that everything was up to code. Another thing that I was able to learn through working in a hospital and specifically working on this project was that instead of simply finishing construction and having people go in normally, we had to go through a very extensive deep clean process that took 2 to 3 days of just people cleaning and nobody could go in there. And as a result, the engineers had to accommodate for that by adding a couple extra days at the end of the project. Another project that I was able to work on was the renovation of the 17th floor. This started in July of 2018 and is expected to finish in July of 2019. This was very similar to the 22nd floor in the sense that it was remodeling office spaces into now patient rooms. However, this time it was only going to be on half of the floor. Naturally, I assumed that this would make the project easier since you're only going to be doing half the work. However, that wasn't exactly the case because on the other half of the floor were the sickest patients in the hospital who had a blood cancer disorder, and the way that they get treatment is by essentially wiping out their immune system, making certain things such as dust or anything extremely harmful to them. So to combat this, we had to set up an anteroom, which is as you can see right here. An anteroom works by setting up a barrier between the construction site and the rest of the hospital, and on the inside of that little barrier is an area where the pressure is low, so that no particles can go out, but only come in. Since I came at the beginning of the project, most of what I saw was a lot of demolition. As you can see right here, those are what areas used to be office spaces and are now being converted into patient rooms. Another thing I was able to learn a lot from was by watching the engineers and how they planned with all the different MEPs and overhead that needed to be put in. Since we were working in a hospital, there was a lot more overhead and very little space, which means that certain tools that they use, such as BIM 360, came in extremely useful because the subcontractors and the engineers could actually visualize what they were going to do before doing it and could already predict certain areas that were going to cause trouble with certain collisions and learn how to fix them. Overall, both of these projects taught me so much about construction, and I am eternally grateful for both of them. Not only did I learn about the end of the project to the 22nd floor, but I was also able to learn about the beginning of the project and all the planning and dedication that goes into it through learning through the 17th floor. And hopefully I was able to share some of that with you all today.